Are you having issues with either one of your large elements on your Frigidaire range cooktop? Well, I'm Dustin with Parts Doctor, and today I'm going to show you step-by-step instructions on how to test and replace it, so let's jump right in. This model of range has 5 heating zones on the cooking surface. One dual zone element that can be used at either 6 or 9 inches, one standard 9-inch element, 2 6-inch elements, and a warming zone. In this video, we'll show you how to test and replace either of the 2 9-inch elements. Both of these larger elements use the same part number, and the testing and replacing process is nearly identical for both. Some signs that your surface element may need to be replaced are: the element won't heat up or turn on, it only works intermittently, only part of the element gets hot, it makes popping or unusual noises when you turn it on, the hot surface indicator light doesn't come on or stays on after the element cools down, or the element stays on, not limiting the high temperature, causing the element to overheat. If you notice your element cycling on and off during normal use, that is expected. These elements are designed to cycle on and off to maintain the temperature that you set using the control switch. This happens more frequently if there is no cookware on the burner. If the element malfunctions and overheats, it can bubble, crack, or damage the glass cooktop surface. If that's the case, the entire cooktop will need to be replaced. If you need to purchase a replacement surface element for your Frigidaire range, you can check out our website, partsdoctor.com, where we offer fast shipping and only sell manufacturer-approved genuine replacement parts for all major appliance brands. Tools needed for this repair: T15 Torx bit, a long flathead screwdriver, 3 push-mount cable ties, needle nose pliers, diagonal side cutters, a multimeter if you plan on testing your element. This video features replacing and testing electrical components, so please disconnect your appliance from its power source before beginning. To access the element, first the cooktop must be removed. Open the oven door and locate the 3 T15 screws under the control knob panel. Remove all 3. Lift the front of the control panel slightly, then locate the mounting pins and the indents that will hold the cooktop in place while you work. Place one hand on each side of the cooktop and lift the front of the cooktop off the mounting pins and slowly move it forward enough to rest the cooktop on those mounting pins. Use the indents in the bottom of the sides of the cooktop panel to hold the cooktop in place to access the screws to remove the control knob panel. Be careful to not apply outward pressure to the control panel knob, as you can damage the panel. Once the cooktop is securely resting on the mounting pins, locate the screws holding the control panel to the cooktop. There is one screw on either side of the panel attaching the panel to the bottom of the cooktop. Remove each fastener. With the screws removed from either side of the panel, slide the panel forward to free it from the mounting clips on the front of the cooktop. You should now be able to see the backside of the infinite switches. Before you disconnect any of the switches, first photograph the back of each switch for reference when connecting them later. While you can leave the switches and control panel connected, we found it easier to disconnect all of the infinite switches and setting the control panel aside. This keeps the tension off the wiring harness and prevents damaging the panel and the appliance. The appliance's wiring harness plugs into the underside of the cooktop on the right side. Disconnect the wiring connector by depressing the tab on the back side of the connector. Moving along the wires, there is a circular metal wire retaining clip. Squeeze the sides of the clip together to release it from the bottom of the burner box. Remove it and place it in a safe place. We cut a 2x4 to 9 inches to help prop up the cooktop, which can make this process a lot easier. There are 3 push-mount cable ties holding the wiring harness to the burner box that's connected to the glass cooktop. These can be difficult to remove. We're going to use a diagonal side cutter to cut the wires free, but before you cut the front cable tie, it is helpful to either tape or use something like a bread tie to temporarily hold the wires together. Carefully cut all 3 cable ties to free the wiring harness from the burner box. Disconnect the green ground wire and the cooktop will now be free from the appliance. To access the elements, the cooktop needs to be separated from the burner box. Cover a flat working surface with a towel or blanket if you want to protect the working surface. Grasp the cooktop with 2 hands and move the cooktop to a working surface. The glass cooktop is held to the burner box with 6 clips that can be released from the bottom of the burner box. Using a longer shaft flathead screwdriver, access the clip through the small holes in the bottom of the sides of the edge of the burner box. There are 2 clips on each side and 1 on the front and back. Lift the cooktop away from the burner box enough so that the clip releases and gently rotate the cooktop to move to the next clip. Be sure to not apply downward pressure to the cooktop, otherwise the clip could slide back into place. Release the clip and apply upward pressure to the cooktop and rotate to the next clip. This may take some time, and you may have to release clips more than once to get all of them released at the same time. After all clips have been released, you should be able to lift the cooktop off the range. Place the cooktop in a safe place where it won't be hit, could fall over, or potentially be damaged. Before removing any components, remove the 3 cable ties by squeezing the end of the push mount cable tie and push it through the burner box. Discard the old cable ties. Locate the malfunctioning element. Before you move it, photograph the connections so you can see each wire connecting to the element. Once you have record of the connections, remove each connection and do a visual inspection of the element. The heating coils in the middle of the element should be free of any breaks or damage. There are 2 sections of heating coil on this element, an inner coil and an outer coil. Some ranges have dual zone control that allows the inner coil to be turned on separately. Other cooktop zones use this same element as a single large burner where both coils must always turn on together. The metal probe down the middle is a limiter, and it cycles the powers to the element if the element gets too hot. The limiter probe also triggers the hot surface indicator light on or off depending on the temperature of the probe. On the back side of the element, you will see numbers around the edge of the metal housing. These numbers are used to label the location of the cooktop radiant element support bracket, which is basically a long name for a small metal bracket used to mount the element over the support in the burner box. If you plan on replacing your element, you will want to make a note of the number that your element support bracket is mounted next to. With the element turned over, you'll see the labeling near the terminal connections. Set your multimeter to the ohms or lowest ohm setting if your multimeter isn't auto-ranging. Place a probe on the terminal labeled 2A and 3, and then 2A and 4. These larger terminals power the element and should show a resistance of around 35 to 40 ohms. If there's no reading or the value is significantly outside that range, the element likely has a break or failed connection and should be replaced. Now test the 2 smaller connections by setting your multimeter to the continuity setting. At room temperature, there should be no continuity between the terminals 1B and 2B. If the terminals 1B and 2B have continuity, the surface light will stay on and the element should be replaced. If you want to learn more about testing surface elements, check out our testing video. There will be a link to an informative video in the description. If your element is bad and you need to replace it, remove the T15 torque screw from the element support bracket so you can replace it on the new element. Take note of the number where it is being mounted. This number will be unique on each different element on the appliance. If you need to purchase a new element, you can check out our website, partsdoctor.com. We'll leave a link in the description below. Search with the full model number from the tag on your appliance to be sure you're getting the correct size and part. To install your new element, flip it over and use the number you noted from the old element. Install the element support bracket by securing it with the T15 screw in the corresponding hole on the new element. Below the 2 larger elements, there are 2 thin pieces of bent metal that act as a spring to hold the element against the bottom of the cooktop. Be sure the springs are centered while inserted into the mounting slot of the burner box before installing the element. Slide the element support bracket over the corresponding upright support in the burner box. Referencing the photo that you took earlier, reconnect the 4 connections to the element. Be sure all connections are tight. If you have a loose connection, you can use a needle nose pliers to gently close the spade terminal so it makes a more snug fit. Now that your element's installed, before putting the cooktop back in the burner box, use a wet cloth to clean off any residue from the bottom of the glass cooktop. Carefully place the glass cooktop on the burner box by aligning the back clip on the rear of the cooktop to the rear of the burner box. This will help align all the clips. Work your way around the cooktop until all 6 clips snap into place. You can slowly start to lift the cooktop to be sure that all clips are secure. Be sure all clips are secure before moving the cooktop. Once the cooktop is secure to the burner box, carefully flip the cooktop over to attach the push mount cable ties. Starting at the front center, Insert a cable tie into the round hole near the center. Please note that this may take some force. If you cannot get it in by hand, use pliers to push the cable tie into the hole. Give the cable tie a gentle pull to be sure that it is fully inserted into the burner box. On the side of the burner box with a ground terminal connection, insert 2 more cable ties. Insert one next to the ground terminal connector and the other one on the same side halfway down the side of the burner box. With the cable ties in place, move the cooktop back onto the range. Place the cooktop back on the range and slightly butt up the end of the cooktop with the edge of the plastic end cap mounting pieces on the top edge of the sides of the appliance. If done correctly, you should now be able to lift the front of the cooktop like a car hood. Prop the cooktop up again like earlier. Reconnect the green ground wire at the rear of the burner box. Loop the wiring harness through the new cable ties starting at the rear of the burner box. Pull the slack from the wires and tighten the new cable tie and cut the excess off. These do not need to be extremely tight. The cable ties are for wire management and to keep the wires off the insulation of the oven cabinet. You want to make sure that you have enough of the wiring harness in front of the appliance to be able to comfortably connect all of the infinite switches. Repeat with the other 2 cable ties while feeding the wires towards the front of the appliance. After securing the wiring harness at the front of the burner box, you can discard your temporary wiring restraint. Reconnect the wiring harness plug to the bottom of the burner box and be sure that the connection is secure. Reattach the circular wire support by locating the 2 small holes in the right front of the burner box. Loop the wiring support around the wiring harness, press the opening together, and slide the ends of the wiring support into the 2 holes in the burner box. Remove whatever you're using to prop up the cooktop and rest the cooktop on the pins on the side of the appliance. Referencing your photos from earlier, reconnect the wiring harness to the infinite switch control knobs. Double check that all connections are correct and secure before sliding the control knob panel into the cooktop. After you've double checked that all the connections are secure and correct, slide the mounting tabs inside of the cooktop and align the control panel with the clips at the bottom of the cooktop and press it into place. Ensure that the panel aligns with the front and sides of the cooktop. Insert the T15 screw into the mounting hole on the side of the bottom of the cooktop, assuring that the screw goes into the mounting tab of the control panel. Fully tighten and repeat on the other side. Once the control panel is secured, gently lift on the cooktop and slide it back into place on the appliance cabinet. Make sure that the mounting pins align with the mounting holes. The cooktop should stay in place if it's properly seated on the mounting pins. Insert and fully tighten all 3 T15 screws in the bottom of the control panel and close the oven door. Re-establish power back to the appliance. Now it's time to test your element. First, let's start by turning on the element that you would like to test to medium on the infinite switch. Check for 2 things. First, the element itself should begin to heat up, and second, the element on light should illuminate. If you replace the element that's controlled by the dual element switch, make sure you test both the inner and outer during this process. Please note that if you do not have a pot or pan on the element, it might stop heating after a moment. This is normal and can sometimes make people think that their cooktop isn't working properly. It's actually a safety feature because without cookware to pull heat away, the element can overheat, so it shuts itself down to prevent damage. To properly test the cooktop, place an appropriately sized pot filled with water on the element. The water will absorb the heat, allowing the element to stay on as intended. Your cooktop is now ready to use. And that'll do it for today's video. As always, I'm Dustin the Parts Doctor, and until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.